Today we are learning how to simplify complex rational expressions. Basically, a fraction within a fraction. Sometimes we call it the superfraction. You never want to leave an answer with a fraction in a fraction or a decimal in a fraction. It's not considered simplified. So how do we simplify it? We get rid of the fraction in the fraction. So what would be the common denominator between all three denominators? Let's go, Chris. 6. So what I'm basically going to do is multiply by a fancy fraction of 1. Okay? I am multiplying the whole thing really by 6 over 1. Doesn't that equal 6? And I'm putting it over a 6 over 1. Sometimes I like to put the 6, instead of distributing to both fractions in the numerator, I just write it over on the other side. And now I've got room to... But it's basically you're just multiplying 1 6 over 1, right? I just am writing it twice. And here, so when I distribute the first time, what can we cross cancel? What can we cross cancel? Matthew?
We can cross cancel the 3.
3, and I'm left with what here? 2 times 2 is? 4. Good. Lucas, what do I cross cancel the second time?
You cross cancel the 2 and the 6, and then you get 3x.
Plus 3x. And when I'm in my denominator, what can I cross cancel? Caleb?
You can cross cancel the 6 and the 6, leaving you with 1x or x.
And that is our simplified fraction. Or rational expressions. Yes?
How did you get 6 over 1 again?
We figured out what would be the least common denominator of all three. So when I'm multiplying everything by 6, it's really multiplying by 6. I have you line it up over 1, so you know that it goes with the numerator and you can cross cancel. Isn't any number over itself equal to 1? So it doesn't change its value. So 6 over 1 over 6 over 1, isn't that equal to 1? So now I can distribute here. This gives me a 2 times 2 is 4. And then I can distribute here. And this gives me a 3 times x is plus 3x. Right? And then we can cross cancel here, and we are left with an x. Are there any other questions? Yes?
Instead of writing 6 over 1 over 6 over 1, can you just write 6 over 6?
Yeah, absolutely. As long as you're lining it up with the numerators. Okay, questions? Okay, we're moving on to the next one. So first thing we do is look for a least common denominator. Now, if I had chosen 12, I still would have been able to do it. I just have to simplify in the end. And then we simplify and we're done. Questions? Whoops. Okay. Do you want to? Let's do the next one on our own. What would we multiply, Lucas, both fractions by to clear the denominators?
Multiply them by 10.
Good. So I'm going to draw my little parentheses here, and I'm multiplying by 10 over 1 and 10 over 1. And when I distribute here, what do I get?
You get 5 plus 2x over...
When I distribute here, this is going to give me a 2, and I'm left with 2x.
Over 8.
Now I'm going to distribute here, and I'm left with a 8. Keep going.
Minus 10x.
Good. I can factor that denominator, 5 plus 2x, over 2 times 4 minus 5x. But it doesn't help me to simplify it. Okay? So either of these would be okay. The bottom one is factored. I prefer it that way. I wouldn't mark the second one wrong. Okay, I'd like you to pause the recording and try the next one on your own. This wean. Y over 1 and y over 1 and y over 1. Okay, in the first fraction, what do I end up with?
Y plus 1.
Plus 1. Okay. In the denominator,
3 minus y.
they cancel out. And we get 3 minus the y when we distribute. Questions? There's no simplifying it. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. Questions? All right, let's try the next one. Pause the recording. All right, let's check our work. So what am I clearing by, Gavin?
I put 4y over 1.
4y. We're multiplying numerator and denominator by 4y. 4y over 1. 4y over 1. 4y over 1. 4y over 1. So when I distribute, I get 1. When I distribute, I get minus 2y. When I distribute, I get over 2y. And when I distribute, we get minus 1. Perfect. Awesome job. Yes, Patrick?
Could you, I think this is all, I did something different, but I'm just asking if it always works because I just did it so that.
Well, is it from here? Or did you tell me a different way? Yes, Daniel. Oh, I could factor in -1, and then I'm left with 2y minus 1. And on the bottom, I'm 2y minus 1. And these two cross cancel, so the answer is -1. How many people got -1? I would say 50%. I think more people are lying, Sim. But whatever. Whatever. Okay, so just be careful. Remember, if they're reversed, we can factor in -1. Now, show me your method that you did.
So what I did was because the denominator for both the numerator and the denominator were 4y. For y, could you do 1 over 4y minus 2y over 4y, and then 2y?
Because you're changing values. 1 over 4y.
No, I mean 1 over 4y minus 2y over 4y instead of the 1/2.
1 over
4y
4y minus
2y over 4y because that's equal to 1/2.
oh.
And then you do 1 minus 2y over 4y. And then you do the same for the denominator. And then you just make...
It's the same thing, but you just made it more complicated. Right? Okay, you're adding another step, and then in the denominator, you're making this 2 over 4y. So then you're having 2y over 4y. Then you get 2y minus 1 over 4y. You're still in fraction. I just think it's more work that way. Find the common denominator, cross cancel in all three, or all four parts. Okay? Okay, let's try 2 more. Well, let's not try 2 more. Yeah, let's try 2 more. There we go. Okay, pause the recording and do 4 and 5. All right, let's check number 4. What is the least common denominator, Jack?
A squared.
A squared, and so I'm multiplying over by... I'm multiplying by...
A squared.
Over...
1.
Keep going. The whole thing. What am I multiplying by?
You're multiplying by a squared over 1. Over
Really?
A squared minus 3.
Over 1 over, so it's an incomplete answer. Keep going.
Over a squared minus over 1.
Good. Okay. And what do we end up with?
We end up
The over 1 is really kind of a formality. It's really a squared over a squared, right? Okay, when I distribute, what am I left with?
when you distribute. So I tell you the answer.
In the numerator?
In the numerator, it's 5a.
5a. Good, because you're left with an a. And the next one is going to be over
A squared
minus.
3.
Good. Yep. Questions? All right. In the next one, what am I multiplying by? Ansana?
Multiply by AB over 1 over AB over 1.
Okay, when I distribute on the first one, what are we left with? 1. They cross cancel. The next one, over what?
B minus
B, and here, when I distribute, I'm left with the A. Questions? Okay. Let's move on to the next one. Can you stop cleaning? All right, let's pause the recording and do number 6. All right, so in order to clear the x and the y, they're both monomials, so we would need to multiply by the monomial xy and also the binomial to clear that bottom denominator. So then when I distribute, okay, on the first one I'm going to cross cancel the x and I'll be left with y times x minus y. And when I distribute again, we'll be, please. Okay, and then when I distribute the second time around, we will cross cancel the y and we'll be left with minus x times x minus y. Then when we cross cancel in the denominator, the x minus y will cross cancel and we'll be left with just xy. If I distribute, we'll get something that looks like this. Then we can combine like terms, right, in the numerator, and it looks kind of like this. Now I could factor a -1 and then factor it. What does that factor to?
X minus y squared.
The quantity of x minus y squared, but it doesn't help me to cross cancel. So either of those are correct. Pause the recording. Okay, so let's continue on the next one. What are we going to multiply it by to clear it? Yes.
X minus 1 times x plus 1.
X minus 1 times x plus 1. Now, I know I'm going sideways because I'm limited on space, but you guys should really be working downward. Okay? So I'm multiplying by x minus 1 times x plus 1. Are you guys with me? Yeah. So when I distribute on top, what's left? What cross cancels and what's left? How about Kiana?
You cross cancel the x plus 1, and so it's 3 times x minus 1.
No, in the numerator.
Oh, in the numerator, sorry. The x plus 1 and the x minus 1 are both canceled out, so it's
We're just left with 1. In the denominator,
you cross cancel the x plus 1, so it's 3 times x minus 1.
perfect. Got it? Okay. Pause the recording if you want to take longer notes. One more problem. Whoa. Okay. What am I multiplying both fractions by? Let's go, Blake.
X plus 3 times x plus 3 times x minus 3.
Good. Because we have 2 x plus 3's in the denominator. So we need x plus 3 squared. You guys with me? So in this case, let's finish this. When I distribute here, this cancels and I'm left with one of my x plus 3's. You with me? And when and this gets canceled too. So I'm left with 6 times x plus 3. When I distribute here, this cancels and we are left with 4 times x minus 3. Are we done? No, I can take a 2 out of both of these, and I'm left with 2 times, it goes 3 and twice, and so it becomes 3 times x plus 3 over 2 times x minus 3. Questions? All right, that's the lesson.